before Sundiata was born. Something happened that quietly changed the future of an entire region. But at the time, no one took it seriously. Around the year 1217, in the kingdom of Neahni, something was set in motion. King Nare Mahan Konate already had everything a ruler could want: power, wealth, a beautiful first wife named Sassouma Bereté, and a son ready to inherit his throne. His life was set. Everything was secure until two hunters from the Traores clan arrived with a strange story. They had killed a powerful buffalo, a creature that had terrorized villages for years, which no hunter was able to kill before. As their reward, they were allowed to choose any woman they wanted. But before they chose, an old woman stopped them. She said, "Select the ugliest maiden you can find. She will bring greatness." That made no sense. But they listened. They searched and found a woman named Sogolon Condé. She was hunchbacked, considered hideously ugly by the standards of the time, and nobody understood why the hunters wanted her. And in the eyes of society, she had no value. But they chose her and brought her to the king Nare Magan as a gift. And this is where everything changes. The king had recently received a visit from a soothsayer, a hunter who practiced divination. This man had delivered a prophecy. The king would father a son who would become the greatest ruler West Africa had ever seen. But this child wouldn't come from his current wife. He would come from an ugly hunchbacked woman. When the hunters presented Sogolon, the king remembered those words. Despite her appearance, despite having a perfectly good heir already, he married her immediately. His first wife, Sassouma, was furious. Her son, Dankaran, was supposed to inherit everything. Now this deformed woman was threatening that future with some ridiculous prophecy about a great ruler. She began spreading vicious rumors throughout the court, turning people against Sogolon before the child was even born. When Sundiata finally arrived, he was sickly and weak. The prophecy seemed like a cruel joke. At 3 years old, he still couldn't walk. He crawled everywhere while other children his age ran and played. He rarely spoke, spent most of his time eating, and had no friends. The court watched this supposed future king drag himself across palace floors and whispered behind cupped hands. Sassouma's mockery grew louder. She'd point at Sundiata and laugh, asking how a child who couldn't even stand could possibly rule a kingdom. By age 7, nothing had changed. Sundiata was still crawling, still silent, still the object of daily ridicule. His mother Sogolon bore the worst of it. The other wives tormented her relentlessly. They'd gather near her quarters and make loud comments about her ugly, useless son. They'd accidentally trip over him when he crawled past. They'd serve her last at meals and give her the smallest portions. Every day brought fresh humiliation designed to break her spirit. King Nare Mahan tried to protect them, but even his love couldn't stop the whispers or change the reality of his son's condition. Deep down, he must have wondered if the prophecy had been wrong, if he'd made a terrible mistake. Then he died. Everything got worse immediately.